Hello, myself is Mohammad Wasim. I am working as a guest faculty in Mechanical Engineering section, University Polytechnic Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. So I am going to record a video series related to the subject material science. And material science is most widely subject for mechanical point of view, and it is generally taught in third semester in BTech as well as in the diploma courses. So we are going to start with the very first topic related to the material science. So discussion points for today lecture is what is the material science and materials engineering is the very initial topic, and after that structure of the materials, then classification of the material, then sub classification of metals and alloy, and finally why we study material science and engineering, why this is needed. So we will start with what is the material science and engineering. So material science is generally concerned with the basic knowledge about internal structure, properties and processing of material. Further, material science involves investigation the relationship that exists between the structure and properties of the material. And after that, materials engineering involve on the basis of the structure and property correlation and designing or engineering the structure of a material to produce a predetermined set of properties. So from functional perspective, the role of material scientist or material scientist is to develop or synthesize a new material, whereas a material engineer is called upon to create new products or system using the existing material to develop the technique for processing material. Actually, material science is related to the basic of the materials. Okay, what is the structure of the material, what are their properties of the material. Properties involve the mechanical property, electrical property, thermal property, electromagnetic property. So material science are generally related to the very fundamental basic of the material, fundamental properties of the material. Okay, what is actually at nano level or at atomic level, what is the structure, what are the properties. So if we find out the properties, suppose we have developed a new material and we find out the properties, now material engineering will be involved in that things to process the material, to develop the new product by using that material. And what is the application of the material which we have newly developed by the scientists or researchers. So this is come under the category of materials engineering. Materials and materials engineering. So various materials such as boards, glass and wool, etc., plastic has been shown in this particular scene. Now move to the next one. So here a circular representation of or related information regarding materials has been shown here. So it's consists of the three rings. The inner rings is the related to the basic sciences, and basic sciences including mechanics, physics and chemistry and mathematics of a material. And after that there is a second ring, that is a middle ring in second ring, that is related to the material science and engineering. And finally we obtain we get the product for the application in various fields. such like engineering, mechanical, chemical work, medicines, or binding, aerospace, nuclear. So these are the various application of a material. So overall there are three phases of a material. The basic science is include the mathematics and physics of the material. Second one, now materials has been created, now we apply the engineering to that material, and finally we use the product in several fields of the day-to-day life. So materials engineering generally creating a bridge between the basics of the material to the application of the material. So the next thing is structure of a material. So why we need to study about the structure of the material? Just as structure of the material is the basic fundamental things, either it includes which kind of the material crystal is either it is a BCC structure, either is a FCC structure, or either is a HCP structure. So from that point of view we need to study the structure of the material. So a structure element may be classified on size because the material which we can see by the naked eyes is known as the microstructure, macrostructure, microstructure, nanostructure, atomic structure, and subatomic structure. We cannot visualize these things by using these by the naked eyes. So for these, as we are moving from downward to upward, so the size of the atom is decreasing, or if we are moving from subatomic to the macroscopic structure, so the size is continuously increasing. So here a representation on the basis of the crystal is a macrostructure. Crystal is related to the macrostructure. Then we will move to the nucleus, molecules level, microstructure level, then atoms, and finally electronics level. So size, here you can see the size of the is continuously decreasing. So only we can visualize the material by the naked eyes at its macrostructure level, not the micro and nano or atomic level. At atomic and nano and microstructure level, we generally use microscopic techniques. Atomic structure, nanostructure, and microstructure of the material are investigating or visualized by using the microscopic techniques, or microscopic machines have been used, like SAM, TAM, to visualize the material. Now we will move towards the classification of engineering materials. So broadly, all the materials which are available in this particular world, or we can say, or the universe, is generally classified in three major groups. The very first one is known as the metals and alloy, and this also known as also metallic materials. And the second major classification of the engineering materials come under the category of the ceramics material, and these are also known as the glasses or ceramic materials. And third major classification of the engineering materials is come under the category of the organic polymer, and these are also known as the polymeric materials. So these various classifications are also shown by this diagram, the major classification of engineering material. So what are the metals and alloy, and what characteristics or properties they have? Generally, metals and alloy, these materials are inorganic substances that are composed of one or more metallic element and may also contain some non-metallic element. or we can say metals are the familiar object with a characteristic appearance. They are capable of changing their shape permanently and have a good thermal and electrical conductivity. So metals are those material which if we are applying the force on a material, or some kind compressive force or tensile force, if we are applying on the material, so there is a permanent change in their shape. They will not regain their original shape and size after removing the rod. So metals have, and this is the characteristic of a material, and they have a good thermal as well as electrical conductivity. As we are aware that copper, aluminium, iron, steel are the good conductors of heat as well as the electrical conductivity. So an alloy is a combination of more than one metal. Either we are combining one metal to another metal, or one metal to another non-metal, then it's constitute a alloy. So alloy generally is referred to a combination of more than one metal. If we are combining two metals together in liquid state and then solidify them, then it becomes a new material that is known as the alloy. Metals arrangement at atomic metals have a crystalline structure in which the atoms are arranged in an ordered manner. So at crystal level or structure level, they have a arrangement of orderly manner. It means the molecules or atoms of the metals are arranged in a well-defined order. Many metals are relatively strong and ductile at room temperature, and many maintains good strength at high elevated temperature. So this is the property of the metals. Most of the material are stronger and have a good ductility at room temperature. Even they can, if we are using that metals, suppose steel is generally used in the bridge, so they have very good strength and as well as toughness and ductility. Even as in the summer weather, the temperature will increase and it directly affect the bridge core material, and core material of the bridge is steel. So steel can withstanding the high temperature, but their property is not deteriorated with time. Secondly, non-metallic elements such as carbon, nitrogen and oxygen may also be contained in a metallic material. In little portion or in little amount, non-metallic material also included in metals also. Example of metallic elements are iron, copper, aluminium, nickel and titanium. Further, these are the various metals and alloy which is shown in this diagram. So further, metals and alloy are further sub-classified into two categories. The first one is the ferrous metal and alloy, and second one is the non-ferrous metals and alloy. As the name is saying, ferrous metal, it's mean the metal which consists the more quantity of iron or ferrous are known as the ferrous metals and alloy, and the metals or alloy which consists the iron or ferrous in very less or negligible quantity, that are known as the non-ferrous metals and alloy. So further, example of the ferrous metals are low and medium and high carbon steel, cast iron and alloy, etc., tool steel. And non-metals has been shown here: aluminium, copper, titanium, magnesium, superalloy, nickel, tin, zirconium, lead, tin, etc. These are the further sub-classification of non-ferrous metals. So non-ferrous, this come under the category of the Non-ferrous metals. They generally copper, aluminium, and magnesium, titanium. These metals, these known metals, consist of very less amount of the iron, generally 1% or 2%. So these come under the non-metallic materials. Further ceramics, ceramic materials. Generally, ceramic materials are the inorganic material that consist of the metallic and non-metallic element chemically bonded together. So ceramic materials are inorganic substance. Yani these are the inorganic materials which consist the metallic and non-metallic element chemically bonded together. They are the oxide, nitrides and carbides, as alumina is the oxide, aluminium oxide, silicon dioxide, silicon carbide, silicon nitride. So these are the various ceramic materials as the shown in the diagram: bricks, glass, teacup, tiles, scissor. All these come under the category of the ceramic material. And very tremendous or very popular property of the ceramic materials are they have the zero ductility. They have generally approximately zero ductility. It means their brittleness is very high. If we are applying the compressive force on the brick, or tensile force on the brick, it can break, but there is no change in the dimension. So they have no tendency to elongate or compress, only they are brittle material. If we are applying the force of any nature, either compressive or tensile force, so they can break, but there is no change in the dimension. So even some ceramic material are also used as the good refractory materials, as they can refractory materials are those materials which can withstand the high temperature. That's why inner brick of the boiler in a boiler, high temperature is generated, generally made of the brick material. Even for producing the steel, the inner lining of the blast furnace is also made of the refractory materials. So these are the very useful materials. And crystalline and structure level, they may be crystalline, they may be non-crystalline, or mixture of both. Though they can be mixture of crystalline and non-crystalline also, or either they can be crystalline or non-crystalline also. So this is the some about the basic for ceramic materials. Next is the third major classification of the engineering material is organic, polymer and polymeric materials. Organic, polymer or polymeric materials includes the this terminology is generally used for the materials which consist the carbon in major quantity, or the structure of the material consists generally the long chain of the carbon elements. That's why these are known as the polymeric material. So this consists the carbon containing processor in huge amount, and generally structure of the polymeric material is non-crystalline. It means the molecules or atoms are connected to each other not in a defined order. They may be random. They form the polymeric material in random order. Their orientation is not, or arrangement is not regular. Generally these are organic materials have the low density. It means they have very low weight, and they have very low softening and decomposing temperature. Yani it means they can withstand very low amount of the temperature also. The strength and ductility of the polymeric material greatly from low strength to high deformability, just like the rubber band, to high strength and low deformability, and high durability vulcanized rubber used in the tires. Because of the nature of the internal structure, most polymeric materials are poor conductor of electricity. So this property is most negatively affect the performance of the organic polymers or polymeric materials. So it's mean that they are the good insulator because they have a very poor conductivity or poor conductor, they are the poor conductor of electricity. So we can use these polymeric material as an insulator also. That's why for the domestic application or for industrial application, generally we have a coating of the polymeric material around the copper wire. So the copper wire, it's mean that's work as the insulator. So they have very good property of the insulating property. So two types of this figures simply shows the examples of the organic polymer: rubber, shoes of a sole of a shoes, and DVD. So these are come under the category of the organic materials. So we have discussed the three major classification in brief: metallics and metals and alloy, ceramic materials and organic materials. Next, the last topic of this lecture series is why study material science and engineering, why this subject is necessary for you, and why the study of material science and engineering is necessary. So why do engineer and scientists study material science? Because an engineers or scientists work either in the practical laboratory or in field, so they will have to deal with the materials in day-to-day life, or even their work which is assigned to them also related to the materials. So all the things are related to the materials. If either any civil engineer is making a bridge, then he or she must be able to know what are the materials requirement for making the bridge: concrete, steel, etc. And material scientists and engineers are the specialists. These are the specialists in the field of material science who are totally involved in the investigation and design of the materials and invention and discovery of the new materials. Selecting a best material from 1000 available material is a huge challenging task for an engineer or for an engineer which material is not to be selected for the particular purpose, because a number of cement variety of the cement are available in the market, a number of steel grade are available in the market, but which kind of steel is best suited for this particular bridge, which kind of particular cement is best suited for this house, that is the criteria. A number of materials are available but we will have to select the best one. So there are 2-3 criteria. The first one is the in service condition, which dictates the property required of the material. Second selection criteria may be any deterioration of the material properties that may occur during the service operation. Suppose we have selected a particular material for a steel we select a steel grade for making a bridge. Now what are the deterioration time of that material? It's mean what is the lifetime of that material. Finally, the point which will be considered by an engineer or scientist during the selection of a material is that what is the cost of that material, because it affects the more. Why affects the more? So these are the criteria for selecting a best material amongst the number of materials available in the market. A diagram has been shown here, and this is related to the Liberty ship, which was fabricated or manufactured in 1943. But before their first departure, before the first departure, it collapses. It collapses, or it's their fracture has been occurred in this. And why this happened? Because we choose the wrong material for fabricating this ship. It cannot able to withstand the durability or load on this ship. So this is all about the brief discussion about what is the material science and engineering, what are the classification of the materials, and why we study the material science and engineering. So we have gone through these very basic brief about the material science and engineering and their classification. So thank you very much for your kind attention.